Testing HPQ. I'm here.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mixed Clouders. Sorry I'm a bit late. It's one of those things. Sometimes, I've got to work and I sometimes got to get things done. And if the show was paying me some money, I swear I'll be doing this full time every day, be bringing you HPQ news. Unfortunately, has to be limited just to a Monday and Tuesday at these times. But I hope everyone's doing well. Good morning in the Mixed Cloud, Skank Stress, Pablo. I always have to come on and do this, sorry. Per Lady, Spice Nice, also Melly Mel. Paula Paris, who else is on, and all of the others that are on Mixcloud also. I want everyone to say a big happy birthday to my son. It's his birthday today. I don't know about you, but once your kids start
Happy
getting to a
birthday,
certain age,
Andre.
you actually start forgetting what age they are. He's either 36 or 37. I haven't quite worked it out yet, but big old hardback son. And bless him, he's still in hospital. He's convalescing now. He's much better. The operation went well, but he's spending his birthday in hospital, so gonna have to make
Oh,
plans to travel down to London and make sure I go and give him a nice hug instead of a virtual hug. Give him a mummy hug. But yes, he's doing okay. So yes, Andre's birthday today. Say happy birthday if you can in Mixcloud to my
happy
lovely, lovely
birthday,
son.
Andre.
But anyway, starting off with some news now. Now, years ago, okay, before we had sat navs, we had to rely on, what did we have to rely on? What was our way of navigating our life around the UK or London, or especially London, actually?
It's A to Z, isn't it?
The good old A to Z, right? That A to Z was my Bible. I used to have one in my car and I have to sit there. And you know when you used to map out the route before you go? And the worst thing was about those A to Zs was that when you wanted to turn the page, thinking, because you know they cut off the roads, but as you turn the page, the next road wasn't on the page. You had to find out which page you had to flip to get the rest of
To
that
get the
map,
right, yeah.
to get the right route to that map. And I remember driving sometimes after I've mapped out the route and lost and sitting there with this light on in the car with the A to Z trying to work out where I am and turning the map around. But now, in this technological world, we have sat navs. It started off with the good old tom-toms, didn't it?
Yeah.
Tom-toms were kind of like one of the first
Remember,
to...
I remember the one I bought was Co-Pilot was one I bought. I remember paying £1,000 for this little thing. £1,000.
They were unbelievably expensive. They were around about 500. They were
It was £1,000 when it
crazy.
first came out. It was
Yeah,
£1,000. And you had to
crazy.
get the PDA and you slot it in and you had your map. It was amazing then. Well
It
worth it.
was. And I've still got one of those old Tom-Toms, but now all cars have sat navs fitted at a standard. So unless you've got a very, very old car, most new cars now, from since, I don't know, about 5, 6 years ago, have sat navs fitted as standard. And now, we've now got Google Maps, which is absolutely fantastic. I remember going to Jamaica, you could download Google Maps, so you didn't have to be on a network to be able to find your route. And then, of course, you've got the wonderful Waze now. Waze is the one that takes you around all the back streets, cuts all the traffic. It's better than the actual sat-navs. But Waze has actually added a new feature to its navigation app. Now, I don't know if anyone uses Waze. Use Waze. Better than Google Maps, better than your sat-nav. It will cut through and give you all the shortcuts. But now, Waze will actually tell drivers if the route that they are taking includes risky roads. Now, I didn't know this. Waze is actually owned by Google. It's
No
owned
wonder
by
it links
Google.
in. No wonder it links in. I was wondering why it always links in.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. And it's
didn't know
powered
that.
by artificial intelligence, historic crash events, and it's reliant upon people giving information into the app as well. Well, and if it's owned by Google, I don't understand why Google Maps then don't give you all the shortcuts as well. Google Maps seems to take you the long way round to
No,
get you
it gives you
everywhere.
it gives you the shortcuts as well. It depends on your setting. If you've got the setting for shortcuts, it will give you the shortcuts and avoid traffics as well. Mm.
Okay. Well, as I said, Waze has introduced this new feature which will tell you about any risky roads. So if there's crashes that have happened on a regular occasion on roads, or if there's risk of ice, risk of wet roads, Waze will now give you that information on your app, which will hopefully help you and cause less driving incidents. So if you don't use Waze, please check out Waze. It's a great app. I can't get it on my
Mm.
normal phone. On my secondary phone, it seems to work very well. But on my normal phone, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, I use Waze religiously.
And you can tell when people are using Waze when you see people taking all the shortcuts and going around the back streets.
And
There's a couple of cars, and I think, oh, they've got Waze installed.
everyone's following each other.
Yeah. There's a
Yeah.
few cars following each other. Okay, well, talking about prices, because you were talking about the price of what it costs first for sat navs. I think one of the truly bugbears for mothers is the price of baby formula. Now, the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, has called on ministers to take action because they're manipulating the price of baby formula. And research has been done to show the price of the cheapest brand has risen by 45% in 2 years, which has caused people to start shoplifting baby formula. There's lots of shops that have now been forced to put tags on their baby formulas or leave them behind the counters, and people have to order them. They're not displayed in shops anymore because of the high theft rate of baby formula. But they've urged governments to intervene because families are struggling and baby formula is a necessity. Okay, it's not something that they can do without, especially if you can't breastfeed. It's the one thing they have to be reliant upon. And they are just manipulating the prices and just causing just widespread high costs for parents. And obviously what's happening now is there's baby formula on the black market, which isn't sufficient or real baby formula. And it's risky, but that's where parents are being forced to go to. It's a bit like cigarettes, you know, the price of cigarettes are expensive. People are forced to go in the black market. They're coming from China or Russia or places where it's not regulated and it's a lot more dangerous. But whether they're going to do something about it, it's a bit like what they call the period tax. The price of ladies' feminine products is absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that we pay VAT on it and it's not a luxury item, wow. But anyway, Sharky DJ, over to you for a second. Right, okay, so back to the news.
Do you know what? I actually thought it was me, and I'm there teaching because I've got quite a different setup this morning. I'm like thinking, is it me? I hear you talking away, and I'm like, what's going on? I can't hear nothing, so I'm switching buttons left, right, and centre. Okay, I should have spotted that.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm back now anyway. But I was just saying some great music that you've been playing today over the last couple of weeks, actually.
Thank
you know,
you.
it feels like you kind of stepped up there. You know, well done. Loving that. But anyway, now this has been over the internet since this news broke. I think it was last week. I've seen lots of social media groups commenting upon this. This is nothing new, though. It's absolutely nothing new. But they're saying that white people are 36% more likely to receive a positive response when applying to rent on spare room than black people. So what had actually happened is that artificial intelligence was used to set up two fake profiles, okay? A black one and a white one on this rental website Spare Room. And the only differences were their names and their skin colour, okay? And basically, inquiries were sent out by both profiles to property adverts randomly selected across the UK. And within minutes of each other, there was different responses. So analysis of more than 210 adverts found that the white-facing profile was 36% more likely to receive a positive response than the black-facing profile. The white profile was also 17% more likely than the black profile to receive any response at all. And in one example, the same message was sent by both profiles inquiring about a room in a townhouse. Hi there, I'm interested in a property. Could I arrange a viewing, please? Something as simple as that. And the white profile received a response saying, and then they put her name down as Lizzie. Hi Lizzie, can you tell me a little how long you would be looking for this room and do you work, etc. The black profile was called Zuri, and they received a different message saying, hello, sorry, it's just been let.
Wow.
So, yeah, and they had a lady that came onto Sky News to speak about this, Paris Williams. She's been living in a house of multiple occupancy, and she describes the racism as a barrier to finding somewhere to rent. She's had her passport inspected. They've asked whether she's really British. And then she said she said when they're going house searching, they said, do you smoke weed? Because I have black tenants who smoke weed.
Oh, no. How terrible.
It's not just black people that smoke weed, people, honestly.
Exactly.
It's not just
Do you know
black
what I mean?
people. My neighbours across the road smoke, and they're white. They gave that out to me, you know what I mean? Yeah. They don't know which ones, you know what I mean?
Let's carry on talking about that right after the break.
You're playing some tracks that are going way back in time, honestly. It just reminds me of days when I was young and carefree, you could say. Remember that? We were young and carefree, no bills, no mortgage, no worrying about cost of living crisis and paying heating bills.
Now we're old and carefree.
Or we try to be anyway. We try to be. Good morning, IY. Martin, good morning. And good morning, Christos. Good to see you guys on the stream. Now, for some more news. Now, this has been doing the rounds also. I meant to announce this last week, but it just didn't come out. But Lloyd's of London has announced it will pay 52 million in slavery reparations. So it's announced it will pay this whopping 52 million in equality initiatives, by the way, as the world's largest insurance market. It recognises the significant role it played in the transatlantic slave trade. And it did. And the firm unveiled plans to support the black and other minority ethnic people. I hate when they say that. Why are they still using minority ethnic people, those words there, in work and education? That's where they're planning to use the money. And they said, their statement was, they described their period as particularly shameful because they were basically involved in the slave trade. And they're saying that they're going to do this just to kind of, I don't know, what can they do? What's 52 million? How did they come to this amount of 52 million? Where did they get this figure from?
It should be more like 52 billion. The slave trade, as you know, 52 million is like 52 pence to them.
It's actually nothing. It's better than what some other associations and corporations have paid in their involvement into the slave trade. But I don't know where 52 million has come from, where this figure that they decided to come with. And it has resisted calls because people have said that they should pay direct reparations to the descendants of slaves after arguing. Yeah. But they've said lack of documentation made it impossible to identify wronged individuals. How do you identify all the individuals that are descendants from slave trade when we don't even have sometimes the manifests or the data available to even do that? But I think there should be a massive fund that any corporation that was involved into the slave trade should be pushing into, and they should be, I don't know, doing schemes for many other, like black businesses, property, land, finance, all these things that can enrich our people and make our lives a little bit better, rather than saying we're going to do schemes in education. The same old in what they do. Now, Spice Nice says, HPQ, they should be paying every black person about 1 million to each of us. Simple. You're damn straight. Let's calculate how many black people there are in the UK, and 1 million each.
Yeah. Well, if you know what, if that was to happen, could you imagine if you paid everyone 1 million, the economy would literally just shut down. Because people wouldn't work. People would be like, right, that's not me not working. They'll be going on the sunshine, partying. It'll be a very different England. I mean, you know, being realistic, I don't think, you know, that is a realistic figure for everyone. Even though it would be nice, because I personally think the economy will shut down. But maybe, you know, pay everyone, you know, around about, you know, 20, 30, 40,000 or something like that. That'd be a nice figure, you know, to start with, and, you know, people will appreciate that.
I still don't think it's enough, and I think that the problem with is that when you start giving people large amounts of money, they get silly. Lots of people don't have the financial savvy to know what to do with their money. People get money and they're like, let's just spend it, or it won't. It will last forever. It will last forever, but £40,000 doesn't last forever. I'm telling you,
it doesn't last forever. But you know, you'll get a lot of people out of debts. You know what I mean? You know, even if they were like to pay off people's debts or something, say, right, you can't get it cash, but we're going to pay off your debt, so you got a fresh start. How about that?
Yeah, I think so. But I still think 40,000. You know,
we're going to pay for your house. You know, we will pay directly into, if you own a house, we will pay directly into your house. If you have debts, we'll clear your debts. You know.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, they said, well, what Lloyds have said is that what we've done is set out a framework that we would believe will make, I hate this word, sustainable change over a long-term period. Why is it over a long-term period? We want change now. That's what I want. I want change. We've been talking about this for the last 20 or 30 years. We're making small changes. Small changes. Yep. And they said that they will also spend around 12 million supporting the careers of black and ethnically diverse people in insurance. And then an additional 40 million is being invested. This is the 52 million, by the way. It's not additional. So 12 million is supporting the careers, and 40 million is being invested to boost growth within communities affected by historical enslavement. And the pot will be split between the African Development Bank and the Inter-American Development Bank.
Inter-American?
Yeah, you're right, Spice. Them big words. There's some nice use of words in there. They sound nice. In reality, how it's going to pan out, I don't know. But you know what I'm going to do? For those that are around, right, please make sure, right, if you've got businesses, lobby Lloyd's of London and get money from them. That's what we should be doing. If they've got all this money that they are investing in black people now, right, please make sure that I'm going to try and find out details of where maybe these funds are. They said the two funds are there, the African Development Bank and the Inter-American Development Bank. So I urge you guys that have businesses, small businesses, go and ask for funds and let's see what happens. And I'm going to start quoting these articles. I've got a new business I'm setting up and I'm going to go to these places and ask for funding because they're saying they're supporting the careers of black and ethnically diverse people. They said in insurance, but they're also going to boost growth within communities affected. My community was affected. That's what I'm going to put. I'm going to get some history, send it all into them and say, I want this amount of change and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. And yes, Laurie, the bank will still want to keep control. You're damn right, it will do. I'm sure there'll be lots of constraints and applications and long paperwork that you probably have to fill in just to get an ounce of money. But you know what? We can only try. So don't sit there and say, let's not do this. Let's all do this. So Spice Nice, yep, I'm going to reply. In the next couple of weeks, let's catch up for those, please. Yes, Janet, Bayesian Fitness on your way to Lloyd's. Yes. I want a group of us to get together. I'm going to actually take this piece and flash it up on my stories because I want people to understand there are funds available. Let's go get the cash.
Yeah, I think I'll apply as well. SDJ Entertainments. Yes. Let's get Salsa Passion some funding.
I'm going to start looking for it now, people. Don't worry, I'm on the case. I'm looking now. We're on it.
Sorry.
I was going to say, I was just about to talk and you took me right out there. There's something I like about that tune and then whoosh, HPQ went. Now, when you were playing that track, I was doing some research in the background and just putting in search strings about Lloyd's, reparation funds, African Development Bank. Couldn't find anything. I've gone onto the African Bank website and it talks about all their programs. There's no funding yet from Lloyd's that hasn't been administered yet, so I'm checking. However, Lloyd's do have two lots of specialist funding. Now, they have a hardship fund. If you go into Lloyd's page now, if you are suffering from hardship and you are claiming benefits and you can prove that you are, they will give you some money up to a certain amount. So go check that out if you or you know a family member or a friend or anyone that's going through any hardship. Check out the Lloyd's page on their hardship fund. They also have a specialist fund as well, which is if you are a small charity and your earnings are anywhere between 25,000 and 500,000, you can apply for funding also for your charity, and I think they will give you up to 75,000 up to 3 years. So there are banks that do give funding, and the thing is that I'm going through some applications at the moment where I want to seek funding. So what I can do is bring a segment every week and talk about where we can find some funding, who's giving out funds, because it's one of the most difficult things to get. Funding's out there, but to find it and to do the applications is two different things. So maybe I'll do a small segment on who's doing what funds for who can apply for funding where's the best funds available. So you give me some weeks and we'll do a special segment on that one.
Maybe we can call it the money
show, the money hour.
The money hour or the money, money 15 minutes or something like that, where we talk about funding and just give out some information out there. Because there's a lot of information that we do find out, and we do a lot of research into everything for our show. So maybe we can put a little 15 minutes in that every week, and people can just tune in at that time. And if you want funding or getting money back or something, we can specialize in money, the money market. Let's make money. And remember, if any of you become millionaires, remember me, please.
You just want 40k. That's what you said. I want $1 million.
Well, I'd like $1 million, but I'm just being realistic. 40k would be nice right now.
Well, realistic is $1 million. 40k is not really.
Then I'll have $1 million.
You can't even put a deposit on a house for 40k, so $1 million is needed.
Okay, $1 million then. Yes.
We'll definitely do that, and I'm glad Martin's on the stream actually, because Martin used to do on his shows Motivational Mondays. Remember?
Yes.
Motivational Mondays Martin used to do. I miss those, so maybe we should have an element of Motivational Mondays. I'm going to have a gratitude wall where
Yes.
we want people to say something positive on a Monday, right?
a
We want a
Monday,
Monday positive message as soon as you wake up, and we're going to have a chart to see who's giving the most positive vibes in the Mixcloud chat room. So there's some changes that we're going to be doing. Spice Nice says agree. Which one? Money markets or gratitude wall? Or we'll do both. We'll do both.
But I always say in the mornings on my show, I said, you know, it doesn't matter what happened the day before. Try and start your day with a smile. Try and start with positivity and send energy out there. If you send good energy out there, good energy will come back to you, you know. I've had bad energy out there, and I've had some good energy come back to me, which I expressed to one of my friends yesterday. Bad energy between us, but there's good energy now. So sending out some good energy and make it come back to you.
Yeah, saw me dancing. I was in the Running Man there. Love it, love it. Anyway, on to some depressing news, actually, because we've got to bring all the news, and it can't always be fun and laughter. We've got to bring out what's happening.
Why not?
What's happening out there. Now, do you remember the murdered toddler James Bolger, I should say?
You know what? I know what you're going to talk about. I was actually going to talk about that yesterday. I was actually meant to, yes. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, well, let's have a look. So John Venables has got his parole hearing today, and the parents have been banned from attending the parole hearing. Now, do you know, you don't think about time and how long ago it was, but this happened in 1993, all right? And these two young boys were not even in their teens. They are now 41 and 40, respectively. That's how old they are. Now, they had bludgeoned this 2-year-old toddler to death after abducting him from a shopping centre in 1993. Now, a 2-day private hearing begins today to decide to see if he would be released from jail. Now, supporters are calling that he should never be released from jail because he's actually been recalled to jail twice. He was freed in 2001. So they were both released in 2001. And John Thompson has gone on to lead a fairly normal life, although they had all their identities changed. But John Venables hasn't fared the same and has been recalled twice to prison for having sexually explicit images and also something else. He didn't attend one of his hearings or go to police when he was supposed to. But the family are angry that he will be able to speak at the private hearing, which is today and tomorrow. And they had put impact statements out from the mother and the father. Now, they'd split through the actual pain of this child taken and abducted. But I feel their pain. You know, I think it's painful for anyone that's had any kind of child killed. And you've now got these prisoners that are up for release. And it's an unfair situation where your child is no longer here, but somebody else gets to live their life in fair normality, and their identities are hidden and everything's covered up, and you just kind of feel like, well, where is the justice in that? But I also think that people should be allowed to be rehabilitated. I've never been a victim of a circumstance such as this, so it's difficult for me to comment on something like this, and I do really understand to the bottom of my heart from anybody that has gone through this. But somewhere along the line, you have to say which people should stay in jail forever, which should be allowed out, which should be supervised. The fact that he's been released twice and it hasn't always been the best, he's been recalled twice, means, is he able ever to be able to cope on the outside world? Being locked up for the majority of your life requires a lot of rehabilitation to try and fit back in. Now, obviously, he's got problems himself. So it's all those kind of things. And the minute that something does happen, if it does happen, then everyone's going to be hauled back into the justice system. Everyone's going to be blaming the courts, the judges, the whole parole system. So I only hope, fingers crossed, that perhaps he isn't released. And if he is released, that he tries to do something good with his life. And my prayers and blessings go to the parents.
Do you know what? On that story there, which is a very sad story indeed,
it's heart-rendering
for it to happen to anyone. And I kind of got the feeling that John Venables was the one that was leading to do all the damage to this unfortunate young toddler. Yeah. And the other one was more following, because you follow
the leaders, yeah.
And obviously, I would imagine that the one who's gone on to live his life is most probably full of regrets at this present time and moment. Of course, he's done what he's done, and he's got to live with that for the rest of his life, and he's not been called to prison, so there must be some element of the system must be watching him to see what he does, whereas the other one was the one who most probably was the evil one of the two, the more evil one, I should say, of the two, and he's continually, being the way he is. I mean, he's growing up as a delinquent, and he's now in his 40s. I think he should be staying in prison, to be honest with you.
However, you're right. And who knows how well he's been doing in prison or not. I don't know how these parole boards actually work. And the problem I find is, okay, so you've got a right to a new lease of life and you've switched identities. What if I'm living in the place where John Venables has been released and I decide, I'm going to date John Venables, but because that's not going to be his name, and you don't know anything about his background. And I think that's a danger to society as well. I think you should know what background someone has come from. If you've been to prison, you've murdered someone, or you've murdered a toddler, you have a right to know as a partner your past, because it's implicit in your relationship.
And of course, if you've got kids around you, like toddlers around you, you don't know all this. So, it's dangerous precedent they're setting out there.
But I suspect that his license agreement would be that if he does have relationships, that he may be required to tell the person. I don't know. It's a difficult one, and I don't want to dwell too long on this subject because it is quite heart-rendering about this case. So play a happy track, Sharky. Play something happy.
Long, too late. Dear. I'll tell you what, back in the days, right, they used to make some long tracks, and we used to play them and dance to the long tracks. In this day and age, you'd be lucky if you get 10 seconds from a track from some of the DJs. Because
the dub plates used to come on afterwards. Remember the tune used to play, and then they'll take off all the vocals, and you just hear the bass line, and that would go on for a further 5-6 minutes, where you could have a good crub down.
You're talking about Lovers Rock, yes?
Yeah. And house music essentially is around 10 minutes long for each track anyway. They've got the long intro and jungle, so all of them have these long tracks.
My house days on a Monday normally between 9 and 10, a full hour of house music. But when we do discussions, I have to do it a little bit earlier, about half an hour.
Yeah. So Spice Nice says, at last, them crippling people, my mortgage is coming to an end. 2026, you lucky girl. It should be back down to 1.88 by then, I'm sure. So it should go down by then, Spice Nice. Fingers crossed for you, it does. And fingers crossed for me by next year, April, that it will be a decent rate. I'm scared. I feel like it's insurance. Do I do it now or do I do it later? Now is not the right time. The rates are too high and they're not due to go up again. So I'm going to hold tight. And see. Now, remember I was talking about those little shirts that was taking my eye as I was reading the article. And these were the ones I was looking at. You know what I mean? They look cool.
The Father Christmas shirt. Wear them on Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day. I think they look fab. I love them.
Yeah, but we need to get like a Black Father Christmas, yeah.
Oh, it's true, I just did a fail there, didn't I? How could I do that? Big fluffy white beard.
Big F for you. We get some grey beards, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
innit? Get Eddie Nestor on one of these shirts and make him a Father Christmas. He's got the grey beard.
Or maybe if the budding printers out there, let's get some Black Father Christmas shirts, please. Maybe that's what we've got to do. Let's get the black movement going. Maybe we need to do a segment on that also, changing it up. But anyway, I've got a quick video for you as well. Now, we know that there's all sorts of surgery to do all sorts of things. I didn't know this could be done. I really didn't know. So, for the ladies that like to wear the long, heavy earrings, they stretch yet the lobes where you've got... Yeah. And have you seen women that have got the split ears? They then put earrings into the second hole because that ear's been split through wearing... And I don't wear heavy earrings because of that. I think it drags down your ear lobes and makes that hole a little bit more bigger. But anyway, there's surgery for that. There is surgery. Amazing. So for those of you that have got split ears, it's a thing of the past. You can go and get it done and have your ears not looking like...
Go and get it sorted out.
Go get it
Get
sorted
those
out.
split ears out. But I tell you what, that's not a bad thing actually. You know, healing the ear because it does look terrible on some ladies.
It does, especially when that first one is showing. Unless they put something big over, well, they can't put anything over it. To be quite honest with you, you just see
Nah.
a torn ear.
Yeah.
But
It just looks horrible.